When it comes to triggers for the AR-15, it's widely known that Geissele is the top of the line. I love it. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. As I said in the intro, Geissele is widely regarded as the best triggers in the industry for the AR platform. But they are generally known for two-stage triggers. Well, if you, like me, are a big fan of single-stage triggers, but you want the best trigger you can get, this Geissele SSP, which stands for Single Stage Precision, is a fantastic option. But before we get started on this video, please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell icon so you're notified every time I put out more videos. Like, comment, subscribe. All those things really help me get the videos out to more people. It helps work with the YouTube algorithm, so help me out. So it is absolutely gorgeous out here. Cold, snowy, but beautiful. And we're out here shooting my 300 blackout build. This is the Geissele SSP, or Single Stage Precision trigger. Geissele is mostly known for two-stage triggers, but for like a CQB gun like this single stage is pretty sweet. So, the Geissele SSP trigger. Not one of their super well-known triggers. It's actually fairly new. You know, a lot of people know about the SSA, SSAE, the SD3G. They've got a lot of really good triggers on the market, and they're all kind of built for different purposes, depending whether you want a long-range precision trigger, something more CQB, a lighter trigger for, you know, like competition or something, one with a little bit heavier brake, so it's a little bit safer for like a home defense, duty kind of setup. They have all kinds of different triggers, and it can be a little bit overwhelming if you go on the Geissele website and try to figure out what trigger is right for you. The way that I made that decision, so I have single stage triggers in in a lot of my firearms. I can't really say most of them, but I like a crisp, fast single stage trigger, and especially for building something like this. This short 300 blackout was built specifically for home defense, to be like, you know, something I could deploy quickly, get lots of rounds on target very fast. Not so much like a long-range precision kind of build, you know what I mean? So when I found out Geissele had a single-stage trigger, I was very intrigued, to say the least. So I did some research on it, and then I waited till it came on sale, and that's the key with Geissele triggers. So generally, most of their triggers are about $240 normally, but they have sales multiple times a year. And when you have Geissele triggers on sale, they're much cheaper. I think this one on sale was $163 instead of $240. So that's like an $80 savings, which is significant. It makes it a lot more palatable to buy a upper mid-tier, high-tier trigger when you're not going to be spending quite as much. Now, I can't really talk considering that the Fostech Echo trigger in this build was like $400. But you know what I mean? It has added features and capability that regular triggers don't. So it is what it is. But anyway, I've tried a lot of different triggers. I've got Rise Armament triggers. I've got Palmetto State Armory, you know, their 3.5 pound match trigger, which actually for the price is fantastic. I think they're selling them for $90 now. Definitely worth it if you're on a budget. But if you want something a little bit more high tier, Geissele is the top of the line. And check out this single stage trigger. So there is zero take up. You have to get to know the trigger, and you have to be careful with it. So you're literally at the wall, and just a little bit of pressure pushes right through that brake. It's extremely crisp. Here's the reset. And the brake, it's a very positive reset, pushes your finger right back out to the wall, and it's very short, very fast. You can shoot this trigger very quickly, but as long as you can keep your sights on target, you can shoot it, very accurately at the same time. Supersonic 300 blackout because I don't have my can yet. Geissele single stage precision trigger. We're having fun out here in the snow today. So the whole point of this build, like I said, was to be quick. Quick meaning that it's small, easy to maneuver quickly around, corners, bedrooms, hallways, kitchen, whatever. Home defense setup, right? So it's small, it's extremely light, even with, the optic and the light and stuff on it. It will be getting a suppressor, which is gonna add a little bit of weight at the muzzle end, but still being very short, fairly light compared to most of my other builds. So in that, the spirit of being quick, I went with, the Radian Talon ambidextrous safety at a 45-degree throw. You can make it 45 or 90 degrees. And I like how quick it is at 45 because I can use my thumb to click it off safe and my trigger finger to put it back on safe. You'll see that in the shooting footage in this video. It's very fast. And so it's very fast to click off safe and pull that trigger. This whole build is just very quick. But let's take a closer look at this Geissele trigger so you can see what makes it so amazing. So here we can see I've separated the upper and lower here. And I just want to show you guys all of the contact points on this Geissele trigger are ground to a very, very precise, standard. And it's hard to see all of them now that it's already installed inside here, but that is one of those points right there. Also the main sear point down there. Your disconnector here underneath it, as well as where it, disconnects up here. There's like 4 different points that are, connection points that are just extremely precisely milled, ground. And that's why they call it the single stage precision trigger, because it is precision ground. And I've owned a lot of triggers and none of them have all of these contact surfaces looking like this. Now this is something where you can see the oil on it. You do want to keep a Geissele trigger well lubricated, but they do send some of their ALG Go Juice with the trigger and with the instructions on how to install it. It does show you what the lubrication points are, where you're supposed to add lube. And so it's just something that whenever I clean this gun, I lube those, those points on the trigger, and just to make sure that I keep it running good. So let's see now that we're a little bit closer up here. I'm going to block this hammer because if you let the hammer drop, you can actually damage the aluminum of your receiver, being that the steel of the hammer, with that much spring pressure behind it, it's a lot of force hitting on the aluminum. So you kind of want to block that with your finger here. But we're going to see that Radian safety again. I love the flat face. It's got the Geissele G on it. It's just a very cool looking trigger shoe, and the flat face is very comfortable. I love flat face triggers. But let's see that break again up close. That kind of hurt. But you can see how short and crisp it is. And then the reset and the break again. So it's a very, very fast trigger. And what I like about it, it's not like their other triggers where you have some 2-stage take up to prep the trigger to the wall and then an even lighter second stage break. It's very simple. You're at the wall, give that trigger a little pressure, and it breaks. And it resets right back to the wall. Simple, predictable, repeatable, and, it's just very reliable. They're, pretty much bomb-proof. A lot of drop-in triggers, you know, are like a one-piece design inside a housing, which, you know, I've had no problems with those, but people say, you know, I've definitely read on the internet that, you know, if you get like say a popped primer or some dirt or something inside that it can actually stop your trigger from running. Again, I have never had that problem, but you don't have that problem with the Geissele trigger because it's installed just like a standard mil-spec trigger. You've got your trigger pins. You don't need any kind of anti-walk, anti-rotation pins, anything weird like that. You know, it's installed exactly like a regular mil-spec trigger. And so if you ever have any issue with it, you can just push those pins out, pull either part of the trigger out, the hammer or the trigger itself, get whatever blockage you have in there out, stick it back in, pins back in, and you're back in the fight. So the more I shoot this 300 blackout build, the more I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to get the silencer for this thing and really be able to have it perform, you know, up to the standard that I built it for, which is suppressed, subsonic 300 blackout, quiet, home defense, quick, fast carbine. It's just a very exciting gun to build. It's all my own build. I picked every part myself. And this Geissele trigger was one of the parts that I was most excited about. And I'm really happy to say that, you know, I'm impressed with this trigger. It's fantastic. And it actually makes me want to try out more Geissele triggers. So in the past, you know, I've used some other triggers that, you know, were less expensive. And, you know, for the most part, I've been very happy with them. But having now used a Geissele in one of my builds, I can see why they are, you know, widely regarded as, you know, the best triggers on the market. And I kind of can't wait to try some of their other triggers, some of their two-stage triggers. They've got a lot of good ones out there. So, you know, maybe for my next like 13.9, 14.5 pin and weld build, I'll try one of their other triggers in that one, so we have something to compare that to, a single stage versus a two-stage. But if you are building something like this that is like a CQB specific build, I say go with this Geissele SSP trigger. You will not be disappointed. Man, this Holosun 512C optic, the Radian short throw safety, and this single stage Geissele trigger make for a very fast gun. Too much fun. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical, hit that bell icon, and share this. Drop me a like if you can. And leave me a comment specifically if you run Geissele triggers. Let me know which one you run, what kind of use that you use it for, to give me a better idea of what other Geissele triggers that I should try out on future builds. Or let me know if there's other triggers that you use that are not Geissele that you're very happy with or not. Just let me know about triggers. Yeah, love you guys from Sawtooth Tactical. Stay strapped or get clapped.